Welcome back, brothers and sisters. On request, we find ourselves transported back in time, standing on the brink of a critical moment in the civil war that tore the Roman Republic asunder. Julius Caesar, having just concluded his successful campaigns in Gaul, stands in the north of Africa, looking out at his own disgruntled legions. Their spirits are low, their loyalty waning, stirred up by the echoes of a dead man. Pompey, Caesar's one-time ally turned adversary, has fallen. Despite his death, his name still carries influence, sparking a fire of unrest among Caesar's men. Or perhaps they are just sick of fighting. Today's narrative is a thrilling, modernized retelling of the Pharsalia, a riveting poem penned by the ancient poet Lucan, roughly 100 years after these pivotal events. While perhaps not entirely accurate, this poem captured the tension, the high stakes, and the charismatic leadership of Caesar. But before we dive in, for those of you who want to understand the journey that brought Caesar to this moment in Africa, I strongly recommend checking out our playlist, Julius Caesar's Gallic War. There you'll find Caesar's own accounts of the Gallic campaigns that preceded this civil war. Now ready yourselves for a journey into the heart of Caesar's African campaign. Caesar's African ultimatum, the speech that quelled a mutiny. Picture this. Caesar, still basking in the glory of his recent victories in Spain, ready to cast his net of influence across new territories, his star rising. But just as he's gearing up for the next phase of his grand plan, it seems like the powers that be have a different agenda. It's like they're attempting to derail his high-speed train of triumph. Interestingly, it's not an adversary on the battlefield that sends a shiver down his spine. Instead, the greatest general of his time, unbeaten in combat, finds himself facing an unlikely scenario. A revolt within the walls of his own camp. His loyal soldiers, the ones who fought side by side with him through countless battles, are suddenly weary of the endless bloodshed, standing on the brink of rebellion. Maybe it's the unfamiliar peace settling in after the ceaseless clangor of war trumpets, or the cold, silent blades resting in their sheaths. Or perhaps it's the lure of a fatter paycheck that tempts these battle-hardened men to question their leader and his cause, to reconsider where their loyalty lies. This grim situation hits Caesar like a bolt from the blue, and he realizes just how tenuous his situation is. His vast dominion, his high perch from which he surveys the world, feels unstable. It's as if the ground beneath him, once solid, has turned to quicksand. With so many turning their backs on him, he's dangerously close to being left to fend for himself. The man who stirred up wars across nations learns a harsh lesson. In the end, the drawn sword owes its allegiance to the soldier, not the general. Gone are the days of hushed complaints, of pent-up anger concealed in hardened hearts. Now their dissent is loud and clear, fear swept away by the strength in numbers. "Caesar," they cry out, "it's time to abandon this madness of civil war. You seem hell-bent on dredging up more enemies, ready to sacrifice our lives at a drop of a hat. The cost of your victories is our lives. Remember when we fought for you in the north, emerging victorious by the Rhone and Rhine? And for what? More civil war. What glory is there in driving out the Senate, in capturing Rome, our home? We've committed countless crimes at your behest, yet we remain destitute. What's the endgame here, Caesar? Is Rome itself not enough for you? Take a good look at us. We're greying, our bodies fragile, our grip weakening. We've spent the best years of our lives in battle, and in return, we've missed out on the pleasures of living. Now, in our old age, we wish to disband and pass away peacefully. Is it so outrageous to wish to die not on some grim battlefield, but in our own beds? Old age should end in sickness, not by a blade's edge. Are we alone in understanding the full weight of our actions in this civil war? If our countless battles have taught us anything, it's that our hands are capable of anything. We're bound neither by oaths nor laws, but by a shared guilt. Yes, Caesar was our general on the Rhine, but here, in this mess, he's our equal. Our courage, our dedication, they mean nothing if they go unappreciated, if all our hard work is dismissed as mere luck. Caesar should know it's us who determine his fate, not the gods' favour, but our wrath that will decide whether he finds peace. And so they storm across the camp, their faces alight with indignation, demanding an audience with Caesar. In a world gone mad, where loyalty and duty are forgotten, perhaps it's time for a rebellion to finally put an end to this endless civil war. A less seasoned leader might have been intimidated, but not Caesar, his secret thriving on the edge. In the face of growing unrest, he chooses not to retreat, but to meet the challenge head-on. If allowed, these men would lay cities to waste, defile Jupiter's sacred temple, even harm the wives and daughters of senators. His only condition? They seek his permission before wreaking havoc. His goal? Keeping them from regaining their senses, as he feared his own soldiers in their right minds. O Caesar, basking in the joy of war while your men despise it, tired of the bloodshed, resenting the tyranny of the sword, have you forgotten peace? Can't you give wickedness a rest? Do you not see the war slipping from your hands? Yet there he stood, atop a mound of earth, fearless, his voice trembling with unmasked fury. You, who dared to challenge me, who expressed your anger with hostile glances and gestures, here I am. Drive your blades into my chest if you seek an end to this war. But I see weak resolution in your eyes. Tired men ready to flee the campaigns of a general who's yet to taste defeat. Go, leave me to my fate. I'll find others to wield these weapons. If Pompey on the run can still attract the loyalty of Italy's citizens, command a formidable fleet, then victory will bless me with an army. You'll follow my laureled chariot safe and unscathed, while you weary old men, drained of life, remnants of Rome, watch our triumph from a distance. Do you think your desertion would hurt my cause? If all the rivers threatened to withhold their waters from the sea, do you think the sea's level would drop? Would it rise from the waters flowing in? No, just as the sea would remain unchanged, so would my cause remain strong. Did you think you were the ones who fueled my power? The gods would never stoop so low. The destiny of mankind is driven by the actions of a select few, not the many. Under my command, you were a force in Spain and the north, but you would have fled if Pompey led you. Labienus, once a great soldier under me, now turned tail and runs with Pompey, the general he favoured over me. I won't waste a moment more considering your loyalty. If you fail to fight for me and do not join Pompey, then you were never truly mine. It seems clear the gods favour my faction. They require me to rebuild my army before embarking on grander endeavours. And oh, what a relief to rid myself of legions who crave everything yet for whom the whole world is not enough. From now on, I'll fight for myself alone. Leave this camp, relinquish my standards to true men, and slink away, you cowardly civilians. As for those few who spurred this madness on, their captives of their own misdeeds, not of their general. Bow your traitorous heads and offer your necks to the axe, and you, the fresh-faced recruits, watch and learn. Learn the art of killing and being killed. His threatening voice echoed, causing the discontented crowd to cringe. They feared this lone general, whom they could have stripped of command, as if he still held sway over their swords. Caesar doubted their willingness to surrender the tools needed for his severe intentions, but surprisingly they handed over their swords. They committed to this pact, bound by their shared guilt and the shared experience of death. This agreement wasn't sealed with words or ink, but with bloodshed and the tolling silence that follows. The scene was grim, yet a reality these men had come to accept. As the deed was done, chaos subsided. Order returned. The soldiers, once defiant, fell back into routines. The mutiny quelled, discontent curbed. Caesar stood unchallenged once more. The camp fell into an uneasy quiet, a silence of relief and dread, as each soldier returned to duties under the watchful gaze of their resolute leader. As the echoes of Caesar's fiery speech fade into history, we're reminded of the complex tapestry of ambition, loyalty, and fate that wove the Roman Republic's final days. It's astounding how words spoken millennia ago can still stir emotions deep within us, reminding us of the passions and perils that come with power. If this journey into the annals of Rome resonated with you, perhaps you'd be inclined to explore that thumbs up button or journey deeper into our collection of tales. For those with a hunger for more content and a desire to support the craft of bringing history to life, consider joining our Patreon community through the link below. Every bit of support empowers us to delve even deeper into the stories that shaped our world. Remember, as with the soldiers of Caesar's legions, it's the backing of loyal supporters that ensures the journey continues. Until our next historical voyage, fare thee well, and may the echoes of the past inspire your present.